So good morning, and thank you for being here. I'm Dan Phelps, an Associate Teaching Professor in Information Systems and the area head for the program in Qatar. Thank you for attending our outreach event. Today, I look forward to you guys having the chance to hear from many of our faculty members. You can see that our agenda today consists of a brief welcome and an introduction to the IS program from me, followed by an opportunity to hear about individual facets of the IS field from several of our faculty. This is followed by a chance to hear about the program for people that have gone through it, our current students and some IS alumni. Then we'll finally conclude with a question and answer period from both the majors as well as for admissions. So without further ado, let's begin. Next slide. Thank you. So the IS program, like all degrees at Carnegie Mellon University in Qatar, are not really different at all from the ones in Pittsburgh. So that is, the faculty are part of the larger information systems faculty across the campuses, both here and in Pittsburgh. The curriculum is essentially the same of both campuses, and each entering class has about 30 students or so. We have 8 faculty, 2 teaching assistants, and 1 administrative assistant. Next slide. So the program itself consists of a general education foundation, a technical core, an information systems core, breadth, and concentration requirements. So you can see that the curriculum consists of courses that support all the components of information systems. There's data and information through the programming, database, statistics, and the quantitative analysis courses. People through the general education courses, the professional communications courses, and the information society courses. Process through courses focused on development, and technology throughout the technical and information systems core. So all of our students learn how to build, apply, and fundamentally understand the interactions of data, people, process, and technology that underlies the field of information systems. You'll also see, though, that we require an information systems concentration, and this builds off your foundation and allows you to develop more depth and expertise in things like data analytics, privacy and security, or digitization. A key feature of our program is that you'll also be able to apply what you've learned in the classroom, both to the required junior year software development project, where you work with a real-world client to identify the information systems problem and build a solution that satisfies the requirements, as well as through the final project or research experience within your concentration area. And students that meet the required criteria can also compete to complete a thesis, resulting in college honors. Next slide. So while the major builds specific skills in information systems, it, like all majors at Carnegie Mellon, stands firmly on a foundation of liberal arts and sciences. So in fall 2021, Dietrich College, of which the information systems program is part of, launched its new general education program, which builds on the college's really exceptional educational foundation and strengths. Designed for an integrated and robust experience, you'll delve into 15 learning areas spread across multiple disciplines and engage in personalized experiences through coursework and experiences out of the classroom. These 15 learning areas are divided into 4 main areas: personal and professional development learning areas, foundation learning areas, special seminars and topics, and disciplinary perspectives in learning areas. Combined with an education year major, these experiences will prepare you to tackle complex problems in work and life, as well as challenge social, political, and global concerns both now and in the future. Next slide. Okay, so the skills developed in the information systems major provide our students really a unique breadth and depth of expertise. But fundamental to the scholar practitioner model that we developed is the ability to not just understand information systems, but also to have the skills to answer novel questions that are important to our students. So many of our students that meet the eligibility criteria choose to do a senior honors thesis where, together with a faculty mentor, they're able to explore and answer questions in information systems that they find interesting. Because IS itself is really broad and derives itself from many reference disciplines, you can see that the research work done by our students is also very broad. So just taking a look at the list, you can see that we have students doing research in technology adoption and use, in e-commerce, in digital heritage, sustainability, and data analytics. Next slide. And of course, this year's group of senior thesis topics is no different. But you can see what ties them together is really the exploration of the role of information and communication technologies and their impact to issues of importance to individuals, to organizations, or to society. Next slide. All right, so it's important to recognize that our students aren't just engaged in research, though. When it comes to information systems related competitions, our students, historically have also always excelled. So everything from Microsoft's Imagine Cup to SAP's InterJam, from hackathons to case competitions, our students consistently lead not just in Qatar, but really internationally. Next slide. All right. So we see what our IS students do while they're in school, but what do they do once they graduate? Well, it really depends upon what their passions are. So if their passions are research, you can see they've been very successful in gaining interest to a variety of really highly competitive graduate programs in diverse fields, from public policy and management to bioinformatics. For those that have a passion for entrepreneurship, we do that too. Many of our graduates have capitalized on their ability to really build technological solutions to societal problems to launch very successful startups. If your heart is if your heart is really set on making impact for local or global organizations, though, our students regularly find employment throughout the economy, as information systems are really foundational to any organization. Next slide. And finally, just in case you want further proof of where our graduates go, here's just a sample of the many opportunities that are available to our graduates. So, if you decide to come to CMU and major in information systems, just know that you'll be well prepared for whatever your interest or wherever your life takes you. So you can do next slide. And so now I'd like to turn it over to Professor Salma Mansar, who will talk a little bit about IS consulting and its role in our program. Salma?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Professor Selma. I'm a faculty member in the IS program. I teach courses in information systems, and one of them is consulting around software development. I also like to teach a global systems course. This is a course where we look at how technology can impact the world in a global way, and also how some of the big challenges that face the world help software engineers and innovators change technology and present solutions that really help us to move forward as a global community. I also like to supervise some students for research, and Professor Dan presented the themes that are happening this year. I have two students. One is looking into how technology can help to provide medical care remotely. This is, of course, after the aftermath of the pandemic, and seeing how we can capitalize on ways in which healthcare can be provided remotely. I have another student looking at the privacy of systems. For example, you're attending a webinar right now. How is this preserving your privacy, and what are the privacy preferences based on culture and based on other preferences of individuals? But now I'm going to tell you more about IS consulting. So Professor Dan presented to you several of our courses. So you've seen that we teach software development, be it just programming, all the way to also designing systems and thinking about solutions for organizations. Well, that is important. It's also part of information systems to be on the side of consulting, meaning you have companies that help other companies find which solutions they want to develop. So to give you a bit of context, sorry, 1 second, my slides are moving too fast. Now I'm good. Think about what happens when systems are designed and don't work well. To give you an example, this was just at the time when the pandemic was starting, and the system at the London Heathrow Airport, the system that checks whether airplanes have landed and or not, basically failed to work. And as a result of that, the screen that you look at when you are trying to find your gate when you go at the airport, that one didn't work. So everything stopped, and there were more than 100 flights that were disrupted and long queues at the airports. So this is a systems failure. Another example is, which may appear amusing to us today, but at the time was scary. So in Hawaii, they had a system that sends alerts in case of emergencies. And in this case, it was a missile threat. So that emergency alert that you see there was sent to all mobile phones, SMS to all inhabitants of Hawaii, and it wasn't a test. It appeared to be real, but it was just a mistake, a human mistake in using the system. So it's about also how do we design these systems so we avoid errors. So of course, in our courses, we don't get to that level of global exposure and impact, but we do learn how we try to avoid failure and build systems that are sound at all the different stages of software development. So in this course, students team up and work with an organization, and they act as consultants so that they deliver a system that companies will be using, and that these systems will work and deliver what they want. So what we do is we help design applications, we build them, meaning we program, we test, and then we deliver this one using a methodology, a software development methodology. What we want to do is that we provide sustainable solutions that fits the company's needs and their organizational constraints and also capabilities. So this course is not so much about learning how to program. The students also learn how to manage a big system development. So for 3 and a bit months, they work together and they learn how to plan. So they learn to put together their processes. We teach them the project tools that helps them to manage their tasks as a team. They also do surveys and analytics, and they talk to customers to see what they need. And then they test. Remember the failure we started with? So we learn how to test at all stages of the software development so that the systems we develop are sound. We've had tons of examples. We worked with local companies, governmental organizations, not-for-profit organizations, private companies, so that the students get real-life experiences. 2 examples I'll present. We had, for example, a mobile application that was developed for Qatar Cancer Society. We had the beginning of a startup that Professor Nui will tell you more about it, which is now global. And now I'll pass it on to Professor Nui to tell you more about how we can innovate in information systems. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Salma, for very interactive informations about information system consulting aspect of the programs. For me, I would like to introduce you a different aspect that information system could offer to you. Can you please, I request for the control, but it doesn't move. So in my sections, we will talk about innovations in information system. So what does it mean? There are many different aspects that information could provide you as a future career possibilities, as you can perhaps notice at the beginning that we can do consulting projects, we can be developer, we can be software engineering. There are so many aspects, but there's one particular aspect that information system can provide to you is to be your own business, to build your own business as a tech startup. I'm sure that you know about entrepreneurships. You heard about entrepreneurships in tech domain, digital platform. So our program has a platform that actually will enabling you to become one. Okay. For information system in entrepreneurships, we offer many different courses and many different aspects that how to build your skill set to become a tech startup, or meaning to create your own new business model and be your own and build your own company. One particular course that I would like to introduce is called Tech Startup Launchpad. Within this course, you will have an experience. We will put you in under an experience that will actually build you, enable you the journey from 0 to 10, to complete the journey from the beginning on how you actually going to set up your own online startup company until you build a protocol. And at the end of the final presentation, which is the course project, we also introduce or invite external judges who are from incubator programs, investors, and we have many successful stories that our projects is actually turns into the real life startup company. Okay, but what is the key challenges in doing that when we talk about innovations? So really, if you have a look at these slides, you can see that this is really an innovative approach, but I'm afraid we can't consider it's never have been done before. So the first challenge of thinking about innovations is how to actually convince the audience or the world that this is going to work, because people are not be familiar with it. If you have interesting ideas and you want to pursue this as a startup business on the tech domain, this is put an extra challenge, because you're not only going to sell cake, cookies, or, you know, something that is a family business model that people are actually know of. Can you please move to the next one? So this is another challenge on the opposite side on how the startup are actually trying to convince people. Okay, we are learning about the ideas is not be familiar, but this is another aspect. If you're trying to introduce the world with the new ideas, is that our startup ideas like Ubers and so on, these other companies. So the thing is it called innovation if it is said our company is similar to, or our startup idea is similar to another company? So this is another challenge. So how are we going to balance it? How are we going to find a new ideas that actually have the market and you could actually build your business? Okay. Oh, sorry. So another slides that I like to this is funny stories. When we have an ideas, what we usually do, I will teach you actually think outside the box. You know, and innovative ideas mean an ideas that has not been done before, and we need to think outside the box. But the challenge of thinking outside the box, as you can see, many ideas are thrown into the recycling bins, or actually our bins. Like the idea is too risky. It is not this isn't. The idea is too risky, or maybe it's too fragile, it's the craziest ideas, maybe it's not implementable. Okay, so how are we going to find the balance of the ideas? The ideas that it works, which is called innovation, is actually inventions or / creativities and ability to commercializations of that idea. So even if you have a great idea, but if you not be able to implement it, therefore it is just only the idea, or it's only the air. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to teach you to pick the idea that is going to work, and then teach you on how to actually make it a business or commercialize it. This is another slide that addresses the importance of how Qatar government is actually addressing the importance of the startup ecosystem. Okay, it's actually booming in Qatar right now. These are examples of our success stories that walk past the university and have their own journey of the startup. I'm sure that you are familiar with these two. These are the founder of Medis. Okay, they graduated in 2014, and now Medi has been one of a very, very successful startup company, and they make it to Forbes Middle East 50 startup watch list. Starlink, this is another great telling stories that our own homegrown student from Qatar is actually started their own startups in Silicon Valley, and they have made a very successful business. Another new rising star, I'm not sure if you watched this, Star of Science, that Muhammad Al-Kasabi is actually only Qatari participant who are in the 4 finalists, and he is the only student, and particularly he's from CMUQ IS program. We are very proud of him. Okay, so this is example of how IS students could contribute to the world and how we could contribute in building you to the on this journey. Thank you.
Okay, hello and good morning. My name is Shadi Aoun. I'm professor in the Information Systems program. And I want to start with a question for you. Yes, you. Do you want to be a superhero? Think about it for a moment. Do you want to be a superhero? Because if you do, we actually do need superheroes. When do superheroes emerge? When our planet is in danger. And looking around the world, looking at the floods around the world, looking at the wars, looking at the inequities around the world, I think our planet needs some superheroes. Do you know how many people die prematurely per year simply because of pollution? If we say COVID is a big problem, how about pollution? Well, let me tell you, more than 9 million people die per year because of air, water, or industrial pollutants. We need superheroes, and we have identified 17 areas that superheroes could be in. The UN has brought together 192 countries that put some guidelines for us to move forward with when it comes to saving the world. So are you ready? Think about it for a moment. I hope you're ready to be one of our big superheroes. What do superheroes do in information systems? Well, they look at how to improve a whole range of societal, economic, and environmental operations and processes, all the way from improving industries through automation, to securing systems, to improving privacy. And I want you to look at this one in the middle here, to improving society at large, not just looking at energy and mobility and healthcare, but also creating a sustainable society that's equitable, that is in harmony with nature to allow us to survive on this one and only planet that we have. All cities around the world, well, many cities around the world are looking at smart city projects. There's more than 300 cities being converted into smart cities and thousands of initiatives for smart cities, and some of them right here in Qatar. This is one example from Lusail, but there are many, many other examples as well. We had a huge regeneration project in Doha as well, which is very much well renowned. Now, information systems provides you with the opportunity to develop your skills in these, and at the top there, to enable smart people to do the things that Professor Salma and Professor Nui have been telling you about. But the good thing about our program and our university is we don't just study in the classroom. Here's our students studying about sustainability, city sustainability, smart city initiatives all around the world, in Sydney, in Singapore, and in Greece. And hopefully things will continue to improve with the pandemic, and we'll get to do more travel and study all around the world and bring our lessons to Doha and to all of our cities around the world. We also have an initiative in the Eco Campus program where students, faculty, and staff work together to actually achieve sustainability. So information systems students collaborate with all other majors on campus and all other staff and faculty to actually make our campus a model for sustainability. So Are you ready to save the world through information systems? I sure hope you are. And I want to wish you all the best and welcome you again to the Information Systems program. On that note, I'll pass it on to my colleague, Professor Huda, who will be telling you about data science. Professor Huda?
Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Professor Shadi. I think somebody is moving my slides. Okay, this is Professor Huda. I'm going to talk to you about data science. Professor Shadi showed you a couple of slides where he talks about smart cities and how do we build such a thing. Then what I'm going to explain to you in a few minutes actually relates to all of that. So I'll start with one question. Did you ever hear about AI, artificial intelligence, and our, dream of building robots and building, systems that are as smart as humans are, systems that can understand us, and systems that can, produce in a way like services to us in a very natural way? Well, if you heard about AI, then you should think of all the technologies that are actually based on it, and that is related to machine learning as well. And these are actually revolutionizing how actually we're looking at the world nowadays. I'm pretty sure you all have some connected devices that you're using in a daily matter. All of these devices are kind of making our life easier. But now the question is, how did all of this work? What is really behind the success of all of these technologies? Well, my answer to you is data. Data actually, now, if we want to go and try to kind of explain or try to define what data is, it wouldn't be that easy, because look around you. We make Google searches, any passport scan, any barcode reading that you make in a supermarket, your online shopping history, anything like that we do in hospitals and EKG reading, anything around, the street cameras, footages that are actually recorded, a photo of a tiny sandwich or a meal that you put on Instagram, and a voice message that you send on WhatsApp, a tweet you post on Twitter, a Facebook post. All of these actually generate a huge amount of data that can be used, collected, analyzed, and more importantly, monetized. Okay, so data is nowadays at the heart of a lot of things. Let's consider a case, okay, something that we're all familiar with. If you look at Uber, did you ever think what makes Uber that successful and rich company that is really worth a lot of money? Now, is it because of their availability of cabs, or because of the quality of their service? Well, I can tell you that that's not true, because Uber does not own any of the cabs that are actually working for it. But the answer was actually data. Data is what makes Uber and any other company, existing company like it, like one other company that is related to it in Doha is Careem. It makes them really, really rich. But how? Okay, is data really enough to grow a business? Now, yeah, I go ahead and collect a lot of data, but then what do I do with it? Of course not. We need to be able to know how to use this data to kind of draw in useful insights from it, to be able to solve several problems that are related to our businesses. So that's when actually data science comes in, and that's why we call it science. It's actually data science, which is a science based on the use of data. So in simple words, data science is a process. It's actually a process that is in which we use data to try to find solutions to predict outcomes for a certain problem that we have in hand. So to better understand how is really data affecting our day-to-day activities, again, with the Uber example, let's say it's Sunday morning, okay, and you get to go to office or to school, or, before a certain meeting or before your class start, and then you would basically open up Uber and look for a certain cab, right? That's the very first thing you would do. Let's say that's the scenario. Now, so when I open Uber right away, I start looking for cabs, and then there's something unusual. Let's say there is a scenario where you basically check the cab rate and you're like, oh, that's very expensive. What's going on? Comparatively to kind of, some other times where you go Uber. Now, the idea there is actually, you would think, what's going on? I mean, I'm usually paying like what, 10 reals for that ride, and now it's becoming 30. Well, obviously you can think that there is a higher demand for cabs because it's Sunday morning, because it's peak hour, everybody want to take an Uber, everybody is looking for a solution to rush off to work or to classes. Then this high demand for cabs actually is what is leading to this increase of its price. We all know this. And we know it's taken into consideration, but how is this implemented actually within Uber per se? Then you should know that Uber knows about this kind of information. It collects data, it looks at how many people are requesting for a certain Uber at that time, and then based on it, and definitely looks at the neighborhood and checking the busiest time of the day and everything, and make sure that you will get a ride, even for a higher price. That's actually the kind of algorithms that are, at the heart of Uber. But how are they really built? It's actually because of all of the data that they have in hand. Okay, so in this manner, what they do is actually they would maximize the number of rides that it can provide, but actually it should benefit them, which means it should, get them some more money. And that's actually what we call the Uber surge pricing algorithm that is used within as a data science, algorithm that is used at the heart of Uber. Now, data science is not in Uber only. Here are a few applications that are based on data solely: Facebook, Netflix, Amazon. Data science is at the heart of all of these applications. Any e-commerce platform like Amazon also applies the same thing. The recommendation system for watching movies on Netflix is about this as well. Again, it's used in so many other applications. I'll finish here by saying that we do data science in IS. We have a concentration in IS about data science, and we value that. And we have several courses that you can complete to kind of learn more about the process and become a data scientist if you want to have this as a career. Here is the list of courses. I think my time is up. Thank you very much. And I'll give it now to Professor Anis to talk to you about another aspect of information system. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Huda, and good morning. I will tell you today about a topic that is at the intersection. A topic that is at the intersection of business and IT, and how information systems can help organizations in general run better. So you heard from Professor Shadi how IS can save the world. He will look specifically at any organization, and you'll see how information systems and technology help organizations run their processes better. So we can say that any company basically does three things. They make a product or a service. A product are tangible items, for example, bicycle, car. So a hotel produces a service. So it's an intangible item. It's like accommodation services, food services, etc. That's the making part. Yeah? In order to make these items and products, all businesses need to buy raw materials and other services from suppliers. And once they produce their products or services, they will sell them to customers. So that's basically a model that applies to any company and also to nonprofit organizations as well. They buy from suppliers, products or services. They make their products, which could be tangible or intangible, and then they sell them to customers. And information systems can help companies run these processes in a more efficient way. So what does business process mean? It is basically a set of steps that needs to be followed to achieve a certain objective. For example, when organizations or companies need to buy, they follow a quite complex process called procure to pay. It's a set of steps so that at the end they can buy the items that they need and they can pay the vendors for this. When they produce, there is a complex planning that needs to take place so that they can generate optimal schedules for their employees and make efficient use of all the production resources. The same thing also with selling. So there is a set of steps to go through, and these processes, they have standardized name in the industry, like procure to pay, order to cash, etc. You also need to follow certain processes. For example, when you apply to university, it's not just one step. It's a process. You need to prepare your application material. You need to submit them online. They get reviewed by admissions. You need to submit some teacher recommendation, etc., etc. Yeah. Same thing with when you want to renew your CAS Estimara, for example, or when you want to take a PCR test. So it's a set of steps that are well defined. And if you do the process better than competitors, you have a competitive advantage. This is a bird's eye view of the sales process. It starts with receiving a customer order, then the order needs to be fulfilled, and then the ordered items need to be delivered to the customer. At the same time or later, we can send an invoice to the customer, and hopefully at the end, we receive cash payment for the products that were sold to the customer. And that's why it's called order to cash. It starts with the order, ends with receiving the payment. Information systems are about people, process, and technology. You can look at any organization as a group of people performing different business processes, either in a manual manner or using technology. And in many courses at CMUQ in information systems, you will learn about these enterprise systems. For example, you will learn about enterprise resource planning systems. This is the most important software in any organization because it is the software that helps you run the organization. So you heard from Professor Nui about startup. If you found your own startup, you need to use software to run it better, because running it in a manual manner is a very bad idea, and you will be behind your competitors. You'll also learn about software systems to manage your relationship to customer, make your customer have a better experience and happy with you, and many other more. There is another course that I teach on business process management, and the purpose of this course is that you look and understand at existing business processes. You act as a process consultant and you analyze these processes, you suggest some changes, and finally use technology to implement the changes. Just think, for example, about the process of renewing any card or accessing any service through Metrash versus the old process where you had to go in person to government offices and wait and take tickets, etc. So I think you all agree that with technology like Metrash or other apps that you're using today, processes are becoming much more efficient and very user-friendly. We also are partnered with SAP. So if you don't know SAP, SAP is the equivalent of Apple. What Apple is for you as a consumer is SAP in the business world. So it's the largest software vendor for enterprise software, for software that organizations use to run their businesses, to buy from suppliers, to sell to customers, to produce, to control and plan the production. And we are a partner in the Academic Alliance program of SAP. Our students work on real technologies, on real project with the SAP technologies. And SAP has a very good footprint in the region and in Qatar. So Qatar Energy, Naqilat, most large organizations in Qatar use SAP to run their organization. And as SAP always says, the best run businesses run SAP. We also participate in global competitions, and our students participated last year in the ERP SIM competition. It's a global competition. You see the team of students who participated last year in this competition. And we also participated in the past in other SAP-hosted international competitions. And a CMUQ team reached the finals in that international competition in Barcelona. So I will introduce you next to Professor Azam, who will tell you about another great piece of technology. It's about mobile application development and how it can help the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Anis. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys. Hasn't this been exciting already? Let me make sure that I have the control of the slides. Okay. So my name is Azam, and I'm also a faculty member in the School of Information Systems. And if you look back, we've seen quite a number of things that faculty members have taught. And I think we have good enough reasons to join IES. And let's add one more reason, that's mobile app development. If you look back, we've seen from Professor Salma, consultation related to IES. We've also seen innovation, creating something new, inventing something, or innovating in something existing, maybe improving an existing solution. Doing that in a more long-lasting way under the umbrella of sustainability that Professor Shali mentioned. A lot of data would be involved in that, right? So data science would be part of that as well. That's Professor Huda that mentioned all these kind of things. We can create all these things, transition them into a business, but we can do all these things through mobile apps as well. So we can combine all these things that we have on offer in IES through mobile apps. I don't think there would be anyone who doesn't use mobile apps or not aware of smartphones and smartphone-based applications. We have a number of tons of applications that we use every day, and some of them are for the sake of entertainment. The others are for the sake of connectivity, but many of them are for the sake of solutions. They provide some actual solutions to real problems. Do you want to be one of those who can solve actual problems on Earth that you see around you? Anything that you have come across. I have this problem. I want to solve this thing. I want to contribute to this world. I want to pay back to the society. Is this right? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, IS is for you. We can think about small problems. We can also think about some big problems. And again, like the professors have mentioned, that this could be a business. This could be your own startup. This could be related to consultation. This could be related to simply improving an existing thing. Let's take an example, a really small one. What should I cook today? This is a household problem. This is a kitchen problem. This is a mom's problem. This could be related to inputting data based on your health preferences, based on your religious preferences, based on your location, based on what's available on the market, several other things, your priorities, lactose intolerance, vegetarian, halal food, kosher, stuff like that. Maybe the app can recommend you, this is the thing that you can probably try today. Maybe fetch some recipes from a cloud. Just look at this thing. It's apparently a really small problem, really petty thing, but it can involve multiple entities. It can also involve cloud. It can also involve connectivity. So a lot of exciting things can make this a complex problem, even though it's apparently a really small one. This means that this domain of mobile app development is transdisciplinary. You can have security aspect in that through blockchain. You can have machine learning, some smartness in that, some augmented or virtual reality, Internet of Things, mobile cloud, and stuff like that. Isn't this exciting? Similar, you can think about something big. Let's say in any underdeveloped part of the world, you can provide healthcare through connectivity. Today, we have 5G. We have communication. We have means to reach out to people. We have means to make things smart and intelligent. This means that you can solve big problems, and at the same time, you can solve real small problems. But both of them are exciting. If you're excited, join IS, CMUQ. And think about other mobile devices. We've been talking about smartphone-based apps, but smartphone is not the only mobile device. We have several other devices as well. We have smartwatch, we have smart glasses, anything else that you can think of or you're using right now. Laptop itself is also a mobile device, right? You can use it on the go. And autonomous vehicles, especially tomorrow, they would be really useful mobile devices. Drones as well. I'll give you the first food for thought. Think about something else that does not exist, could be mobile in the future. Think about it. We'll consider all these things. We do that here in the School of Information Systems at CMUQ, and we develop mobile apps based on that. And you have many reasons to consider this domain. Look at this. The global mobile users right now are 7.26 billion, and that's increasing. That's a huge number, right? Similarly, global smartphone users, if you look at this thing, 6.5, more than that today, billion smartphone users, and that's growing as well. I have a number of reasons now, tons of reasons now. I'm excited. And look at this thing. The number of internet users today, as of July 2022, more than 5 billion. As I said, apps plus connectivity can make you reach out to the rest of the world. You can do wonders. And you can think about all these different aspects. Look at your phone now. Think about these things, the physical size of your phone versus tablet versus laptop versus any other mobile device. Display size, CPU speed, connectivity, 5G versus 4G, small network versus large network. All these kind of things are part of our mobile app development in the School of IES. The number of sensors, tons of sensors, right? More than a dozen. That includes physical sensors and virtual sensors. And that's your second food for thought. The most important app to you, the least important one. What can you improve in this one? Why do you still use it? Right? Just in case you're passing by Education City and you have time, come in, drop by CMUQ, apply to IS program, and spend 4 years, and you'll see the difference. And if you want to know more from someone who has done that, we have Noura Mansour to talk more about her experience. She has done that. We have Abdulaziz Al-Harkan and Malik Al-Saif as well. We're currently doing this thing. So let's hear from them. Okay, over to you, Noura.
Thank you so much. So yes, I'm here today to tell you about my journey with information systems. When I was a student, I really wasn't sure what I wanted to study. I had so many different things that I wanted to do, and IS was the perfect major for me to satisfy all of these interests, because information systems helps you actually have the proper foundation for any industry that you want to go in, because any company you work at, any organization needs information systems to improve their processes, as Professor Anis mentioned, to learn from their data and improve as well their systems, as Professor Huda showed you, to innovate, as Professor Nui mentioned. So every single thing you learn will somehow help you when you work after. So I studied information systems. I also minored in psychology. And because I was interested in so many things, I also had internships every summer during my years of studying, and every time in a different domain. So once I did it in an construction company, once I did in oil and gas company, and I've done in government organizations. So I've done internships in many different domains. And what I learned in information systems, what came useful in every single one of them. So now I'm, as you can see, I'm head of projects in, it used to be Ministry of Administrative Development, now it's Civil Service and Government Development Bureau. And we manage a centralized ERP system, the ERP that Professor Anis mentioned. It's built on SAP. So we manage a centralized system for the entire government, and I manage all the projects related to that system. And having such a role where I need to have a good understanding of many different areas when it comes to technology, to projects, to how to innovate, how to enhance processes, how to use our data, because as an ERP system, we have a lot of data. How to build the mobile application for our users. So every single thing you learn in information systems will help you when you study. I was always told growing up that your degree is just to as it's a checkbox because you need to have a bachelor's, but information systems is not like that. Truly, everything I learned helped me somehow. Even the generic courses like English and calculus, everything I learned, I somehow used and it helped me. And now I'm doing Masters of Science at Hamad bin Khalifa University in data science and engineering. So again, this is something I feel is gonna help me to further my, to help my role, to help me enhance what we do to make it better. And I wish Professor Huda's courses were offered when I was a student, because it would have helped me also. So that's another thing, that the program is always evolving. So it's not the same as when I was a student 4 years ago. What I heard today, there's so many different things, because they're always changing as per what's needed. And I want to go back and do another degree now. And other than that, the professors are also, all of them are extremely supportive wherever you need help with anything, even as just advising for not only within your courses, general advising. Should I do masters after? Should I change my major? Should I, which role should I consider? In many different things that you might need support with, every single one of them is extremely supportive, and they're all, everything that they will help you with, it will somehow, you, even if you don't see the value while you are studying it, you will realize it later also. And yeah, that's all for me. Thank you so much. And after now, the next speaker is Abdelaziz. He's a current IS senior, so he will have a different, slightly different experience than I did. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Abdelaziz Hargan. I'm an IS senior. Today, I just want to talk briefly about my experience as an IS student and how, like, things that I guess you should learn as incoming students, maybe, or hopefully. So I'll start by talking about academics. So for me, I really appreciated what the IS program offered to me as a student. So from going like through like core courses, I learned about web development, apps, databases, developments, as well as like I was interested in learning a lot of like programming languages, and that opportunity was offered to me through the core courses. But there's also room for flexibility in the IS program, and that's like one of the main things I really liked about IS. So there are the electives where you could learn data science, where, like as Noura mentioned, she's interested in. There are like fields like enterprise systems, sustainability, taught by Professor Shadi, and many other courses that you can take after, like whenever you finish your core courses, there's a lot of room to take. And there's also flexibility in taking like non-IS courses. If you're interested in history, taking minors, there is room for that. Like through your 4 years, you can explore your interests basically with ease in this major. And I'd like to talk about the ARC. So I think it's one of the most important things in your academics. When you go through your first year, you'll quickly realize that it's very important. ARC will be your best friend very quickly. And I think you should try, if you become a CMUQ student, try facilitate the help that's giving to you through the ARC. There are like people helping you, TAs, CAs. There are also the professors are willing to help as well. Now I move on to talk about extracurricular. So as you've seen through what the professors mentioned, there are a lot of activities, competitions. There are also a lot of clubs, like the IS club. There are a lot of competitions for programming. There are a lot of competitions for SAP, as Professor Anis mentioned. I think it's these competitions or extracurricular activities offer you a chance to know more about what are you interested in. You know more about your major. You know more about the field in the real life, like what are the jobs offered, what are people doing currently. Like for example, with the SAP systems, you can learn through the competitions, like what is done daily using these systems, like how are they important basically. Like you learn one thing in class, but through real experience, you really know why are they important to the companies. Now we'll move on to community of CMUQ. So I'll talk briefly about the community at CMUQ. I really felt like from my first year that everyone was really welcoming. Like whenever I asked questions, whether it's with students, professors, advisors, they were always like very helpful. They always offered what they could help me. They always were willing to help. They were always willing to give me some insight on like questions I had, help me maneuver through my experience like with ease. And that was like really appreciated, especially through the first year. And one thing is really important was the open door policy. Like, I think the majority of the professors, they're always willing to like leave their door open. Whenever you pass by their office, you can see their door open, just come in and ask your questions. And I think that was like also an important factor when like I had questions, I wanted to know more about stuff. And the open door policy, I think, is applied, like the majority of the professors have it. And one last thing I want to talk about is the events. I think CMUQ is the most active campus on QF. Like almost every week we have an event, whether you're interested in competitions like trivia competitions, programming competitions, as I mentioned, events like career fairs, which are really important if you want to explore the opportunities in the market, the jobs, what do they need, what are your requirements. So you have a better idea on what can you explore in your university career. And I think especially the career fairs were like a really important factor when you get like major companies in consulting, major companies that are locally here, you know, you have a better insight on like what should you do through your journey in the university, and what can you do to enhance your chances of getting the job that you want. So by this, I'll conclude my talk and I'll move it on to Malak. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Abdulaziz. So yeah, I will take it from where you stopped. I really want to, well, first, I'm a senior in information system, as it says on the screen. I want to emphasize on the community part of my journey. I feel like the professors covered a lot of the academics. Now let me tell you a little bit more about your life as a student here at CMUQ. So unlike a big campus, at CMUQ, the smaller number of students ensures that you are seen and heard. So the community ends up being a huge support system. Say you're transitioning from high school to uni, a very difficult transition, to me at least. The big number of staff and faculty compared to the number of students allows for each student to be individually supported. And that is very rare, because on a big campus, you're just a number. But here you're like heard and seen, and all the professors know you, all the staff know you. And that's a beautiful part about being in a smaller community. So if you need academic support, there's always someone to talk to. And one thing that I really love is being able to make a change. So a change in CMUQ, if it's a good change, usually translates into a change in QF, which then translates to like a nationwide change, which is a very big thing. If you think about it, you're a student and you're making a whole country different. If you drive around QF, many of the things that you see that are impressive were actually started on some campus in QF. So having that opportunity as a student is just wonderful. I'm really grateful to the IS department for helping me start my own business. I actually started two. So I took the course Professor Nui mentioned, the e-business course, and it equipped me with all the skills that I needed to start a business and make it profitable. So I started two businesses here when I was still like in my sophomore year and my freshman year. And again, the community was a huge support, just going on Instagram and asking people to promote it. People did that for me. Even QF like posted all my posts and everything. It's just a wonderful place to just follow your passions and discover what you're really into. You will have the space for that. And another thing I wanted to talk about is, so we have the IS department here in Qatar, and then there's the IS department in Pittsburgh. And these two are very connected. So the opportunities that the students in Pittsburgh get, we get as well. So this summer, for example, I was part of a program called Technology Consulting in the Global Community. I was in Rwanda for 2 months doing a consulting job. I don't think any campus on earth would have given me this opportunity. It really helps you grow personally, professionally, and just imagine how beautiful that looks on your resume. I feel like CMUQ students, specifically I students, have the best resumes because they're very diverse. It's not just like one thing that you're just focused on, but it shows you like as a well-rounded person who is ready for a job, the interpersonal skills and the events, as Abdelaziz mentioned, you can become part of a club, you can become a president of a club, or you can start your own. A lot of like the things that I learned here, I learned through being in like different clubs, like join a consulting club or a CS club, and you will get to explore that discipline without the pressure of the academics. And then if you look at our alumni, many of them work very prestigious information systems job related to technology, but then many of them also have like a business on the side or are doing a master's on the side. And the IS program prepares you for that, because no one like just is prepared for that. No one is born prepared for that. You need really good time management skills. You need a lot of discipline. You need a lot of consistency in order to be able to achieve that. And what else did I want to talk about? So can I like show the pictures that I had? Okay. Yeah, so this is like on the left, you can see one of the businesses I started. It's recycling used lamps. With the help of an artist, she's also an IS student. She helped me with this business. And then I was also present for the AIS club, where we got to bring in like people from outside. This is during my time as a camp counselor this past summer. CMU also supported me in that, and I got to share my journey with students when I came back. And yeah, these are some more pictures I'm proud of. And if you would like to connect further, you can find me in a post on our CMUQ page. I'm tagged below, and I'm happy to connect with all of you.
Thank you very much, Malak, and thank you to all the speakers. So with this, we conclude the first part of the program, and we will move into the second part. So first, you can request the certificate of participation by filling a survey that we will send through the chat in a minute. So please enter your name and your full name and your email address. You'll receive the certificate by email over the next few weeks. Yeah, let me go to this. So this is the link here, or you can scan this QR code. I give you 1 minute time to request your certificate of participation, and after that we will move to the Q&A session. So let's start with the Q&A session. This first part will be focused on information system related questions. If you have any admission related questions, you can post them in the Q&A channel, but these will be answered then from 12 to 12:30. So admission related questions from 12 to 12:30. Now you can ask questions about the IS major or any of the presentation that you listened to today. I see there are already 10 questions. Okay. So the panelists have the option to choose a question to answer live. And Mohammed Al-Saadi will guide you through, will be the moderator for this Q&A session. So Mohammed, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Professor Anis. Hello, everyone. So first, let's start with the very classical question. I would like to know what's the difference between computer science and IS courses here, and why should I choose either? Maybe Professor Dan, you start if you want.
Yeah, sure. So I always try to answer that question with more of an analogy, because I think that helps for people that are kind of new to the field. So I tend to use the analogy of the biologist versus the physician. So computer science is much more like the biologist. The computer science is a fundamental science that has the goal to answer what is computable, right? That's their fundamental question. So they're constantly looking to find out what kind of problems can be solved through computation and how can they do it in an efficient and effective manner. Just like the biologist's fundamental question is, what is life? And although there's many different areas to biological sciences, that's the fundamental question that drives the field. On the other hand, physicians have reference disciplines like physics and chemistry and biology that they utilize to go ahead and deal with issues that are presented to them by humans. So humans that develop some sort of illness or have some sort of injury need someone that can go ahead and understand their problems, can extract more information to fully understand and find ways to go ahead and solve the problems they have or make them better. So when you compare kind of computer science to IS, IS is like the physician. We help individuals and organizations and society that have information problems to go ahead and come up with ways to solve them. So it's with that application of technology to solve the problems which they have. So I think that's probably the easiest way to understand the difference between computer science and information systems. But I know that we have lots of people that can also chime in and give their opinion as well if they choose to do so.
Yeah, sure. Maybe we have also Abdulaziz Al-Harqan if you want to add something on this question.
Sure. I think when I want to mention, I did not take a CS minor, but if I want to talk briefly about CS and IS, I'd say CS is more of the building part, but IS is more of the application part. So I think IS is more or CS is more focused on like learning the stuff within, like how does things work, how are they built? But the IS aspect focuses more on how are these technologies applied and how can they be useful to humanity. I think that's the best way I can explain it.
Thank you, Abdulaziz. We have also another question for Professor Dan. Are there any programming or do they need programming experience to join the IS program?
Yeah, great question. So no, we don't have any programming prerequisites to get into the program. So certainly for a high school student and you apply and maybe you haven't had any experience with programming, that's not a disqualifying factor at all. We assume that you don't know how to program coming, and we provide you with background experience and courses that build up your programming experience in the first 2 years. So that way you have those skills developed by the time you hit really your junior year when you're going to be expected to apply that understand technology to solve larger scale problems for at least organizations for 373, and then certainly for individuals in society when you hit the senior level courses.
Thank you, Professor Dan. A question to Professor Anis. What type of jobs do the majority of graduates go into?
Thank you for this question. So I would like maybe first to add on the initial question, IS versus CS, then make a transition to this question about the jobs. So I would say that the information systems may include like 1/3 or 1/4 of CS courses. As I said in my presentation, information systems are about people, process, and technology. So CS comes into the technology piece, but you will also learn a lot about the people side. For example, sustainability, user interface design, user experience design, a lot of psychology courses that you can take, or communication, presentation courses. And you also can learn about some business work aspects. And this qualify you for a variety of jobs. So you can go into technical career paths. So if you are interested in programming and software development, you can become a software developer or a mobile application developer or a software tester. If you are interested in the people side, you can be a consultant. So some consultants are more on the communication side, project management, as you saw in Professor Salma presentation. Some others are more focused on the technical parts of the project. You can work, some of our students work in sales, for example, at Microsoft. So they sell Microsoft or SAP solutions to government entities and other organizations in Qatar. You can be a project manager. We have many students who are managing projects, and this job requires the people side, but also a good understanding of technology and the IT world in general. Some students are working as a data scientists. We have some students who are working as database developer or database designers. So it's really a very broad set of possibilities. You can move into consulting, more into the business consulting. We have graduates working at companies like Accenture, Deloitte, PwC, etc. it is, I would say, if you don't have a clear objective now in terms of career, the safest would be to go with the IS program. You will be exposed in these 4 years to a lot of opportunities, and then you can see, okay, what do you like most, and decide based on that.
All right, thank you, Professor Anis. A question to Professor Nawi: what are the support available for entrepreneurial activities?
So I'm glad that to be able to answer this question. So to show you one exciting journeys that you can do, we have first of all, the first support that you will get from us is to build up your skill set through a variety of courses. Before you actually doing entrepreneurial courses, we not just only teach you entrepreneurial theories, but we offering courses that actually build you the practical skill set to do it. And there are 2 courses that is actually get you opportunities to create your own business. There's one course that I have just already talked about, which is a tech startup. With the tech startup, the environment that you're going to learn is I'm going to push you through an exact environment in the real world that you're going to go up and down through from team formations to actually launching your own first startup campaigns. Through this course, you are going to have an experience of what an actual startup is experiencing through, not just only from, a case studies or not only from a theories, but you actually have to do it. And I will put an uncertainty environment for you to feel like the real startups. Another support that we can give you is we link you to many successful startups in Qatar and overseas. So we bring them to courses for you to talk about their journeys, to talk about successful aspect. At the end of the day, we also bring the real incubation centers. We have many networks and connections with the incubation center and the investor. For example, last year, a group of students got the funding, actually the real funding from the CEO of Snunu to pursue their own startup company if they wish to. So this is one of the example. In the previous semester, the student got the red carpet to go to QSTP Startup Accelerator programs. And that is another course that I have not talked about, but I want to mention about this, which is Malak was talking about on the e-business. So with that course, you also learn about entrepreneurial skill set on a different aspect. In that course, you are not going to develop any new innovative online business model. However, you are going to utilize existing online social media platform to create your own business. And I'll make sure that I'm going to get all of you who enroll in that course is actually going to be a business owner, okay? The final project, like what Malak was saying, that she create her own now business from that final project. So you're going to be your own business owner, having an online, like a Facebook or Instagram business, or you can even choose to be social media influencer as the final project. So there are many things that we can create from an entrepreneurship, pathway of information system. Thank you. I hope I clarify what we can do for you.
Thanks, Professor Nawi. We have a question about volunteering. Is there any volunteering in CMU that's related to IS or CS? Maybe Malak, if you want to handle this one.
Yeah, so there's a lot of competitions that happen, as some of you might know, for high school students. And they invite us IS and CS students to help organize these events, advertise for them. So there is volunteering in that regard. And then there's like volunteering like in QF in general, not just in CMUQ. Like we often get emails, they're looking for volunteers at different events organized in Student Center, for example.
All right, thanks, Malak. We have a question about the IS as a minor. Maybe Professor Dan, you can handle this one. How will the IS course differ if we will take it as a minor?
Yeah, so I just want to, I don't know whether you're talking about doing a minor in IS or taking a minor with IS. So if you take a minor in IS, then you get a specific subset of courses. Now, The IS minor is on the book, but it's competitive to go ahead and get in. So not everyone who wants to can just go ahead and take the IS minor because we won't have so many limited spots in our core courses. So typically the IS minor that we have is you have to have all the same prerequisites as far as computer science goes. You'll take a series of our core courses, and then you'll take a series of electives to go ahead and finish off the minor. But again, it's competitive to go ahead and get in, and there's no guarantee that a student will. If the question is reversed, what minors can one take? Well, an IS student, and what would be the impact on the major itself if you do a minor while an IS student? Well, if you've taken a look at our course, our website for the curriculum and the program, you may have seen that with the new concentrations, you have the opportunity to maybe take a minor in lieu of the concentrations, but it would be it's a defined set of minors that are available to go ahead and qualify. Right now, the only minor that we have that clearly matches the requirements is the computer science minor. So if you were to take the computer science minor with the IS major, you wouldn't necessarily have to do a concentration in addition to it. However, for most students that are doing a minor, it's just in their free electives, they would take a minor instead of just doing free electives.
All right, thanks a lot to Professor Dan. We have a question to Professor Shadi. What are the most important skills you would need to focus on the successful in IS? You need to focus on to be successful in IS.
Thank you, Mohammed, and thanks for the person who asked this very important question. So I want to answer it a little bit more broadly. There was a study done on, if I remember correctly, over 50 million resumes in the US, and also on the job offerings and the opportunities to progress and get good salaries. And what the survey found was that people who have a multitude of skills in three main categories, one of them interpersonal skills in collaboration, in communication, another category in business skills and process skills and design skills, and a third category in technology, programming, and so on. The study found that people who have skills on more than one category are very well set to get very good salaries and also very good conditions and progress in their careers. So I really couldn't think of a better fit between a study like this and what we do in information systems, because you'll be building a lot of interpersonal skills through many of the courses that we do. Almost all the courses that we have a project element. You'll be collaborating, you'll be presenting, you'll be communicating. Then officially you'll put that into practice in courses that are project-based, like the IS consulting project or the tech entrepreneurship. And then you have a lot of courses that focus on design, that focus on business process management. I can think of IS Milieu or the business process engineering that Professor Anis does. And then a lot of courses that are focused on building your skills in technology. There are many courses that we have like this. Of course, there's courses that are very technical, and there are courses that Professor Huda teaches one on IS design and development, which is a core course. So building skills in all these three areas will set you for dictating your conditions and also for a very good career progress and future. And this is not just my opinion. This is based on the scientific study that was done on actual job positions and resumes. So IS sets you up for a really good career. And as I say, the proof is in the pudding. Look at where our graduates are. Professor Dan showed a map at the beginning. They're working in all range of industries in many, many countries, from banking to finance to public companies, to Disney, to Uber, to Microsoft, to manufacturing companies, to tourism agencies. We're everywhere, and we're enabling the digital economy, which the whole world is moving into. Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you so much, Professor Shadi. We have a question about cybersecurity. Maybe I can forward it to Professor Dan. Can I major specifically in cybersecurity, or is it just a concentration field?
Yeah, so great question. So it would be a concentration within the IS content, within the IS program itself. But it's important to recognize that in order to go ahead and develop any specialization, you have to have a good foundation in the fundamental technology and processes that go into it. Just like a physician doesn't, just jump right into working on patients and trying to identify what's wrong. They have to have a strong foundation in the biological sciences and physics and chemistry in order to have an ability to understand what's going on in the human body. So yes, it is concentration, but it builds off of all the other courses that you have within the IS major itself, which I think are fundamentally important to understand how security plays a specific role in the larger information systems field.
Thanks a lot. Another question, I would like to take a CS major and IS minor. Will there be an overwhelming workload, and can I manage both of them? Yeah,
I'll answer that as well. Yeah, no, I mean, that wouldn't be necessarily overwhelming. We have lots of students that, if they're CS students that have a desire to go and take an IS minor, and several that have done it without any specific difficulties or issues. It's just a matter of making sure that you're coordinating your minor early with your majors. That way you can complete the sequence courses in a time frame that you need to complete them in order to be successful with the minor.
All right. Maybe also a third question to you, Professor Dan. Is it possible to do a double major in IS and biological sciences?
Oh, that's a great question. Possible, absolutely. We have the mechanism in place to go ahead and do double majors. But just like in the last answer, when it comes to making sure that you're planning early, it's even more important when you're dealing with trying to complete two majors at the same time. They both have sequential courses that have to be taken. And so you would have to be very good at making sure you were coordinating with both majors to make sure that those courses were available when you needed them, and ideally trying to make sure that the courses are not scheduled at the same time so you don't have conflicts. So it's possible, yes. The key there is again going to be coordination and making sure that that's something that you have the buy-in from both advisors from both majors to help you with that process.
Thanks a lot, Professor Dan. We have a question about the outreach events. What are some events and program for high school students that CMUQ conducts? And this one is for Professor Anis.
Thank you. So you are joining today our online outreach webinar. Usually we offer this one in the fall semester. On October 8th, this is roughly in a month from now, we will be holding an in-person outreach event. That event is called Experience CMUQ, and all the programs, all the majors will be presenting some outreach activities and outreach workshops for the students. So please stay tuned, check our website. I think you will in a few days, you will see the announcement for this one, for the October 8th Experience CMUQ event, and more details about the workshops for information system that you can attend. So it's approximately a 3 hours event on October 8th in person in the CMUQ building, and you will learn more in depth into specific aspect of information systems. We also have an Experience CMUQ event that will take place in January 2023. So this is basically these are basically the events that we do. Like we have the overall overview workshop that you are attending today, and we have in-depth workshops about specific topics such as data science, information visualization, design thinking for innovation, business process management. As I said, these will be offered as part of the next event on October 8th, 2022, roughly in a month from now, and we look forward to meeting you in person there.
Thank you, Professor Anis. We have a question about the master programs. From IS, what are the master's program I can get into based on the current market trend? Maybe this question is for you, Professor Salma.
Hi, thank you. I can give it a try. So you've seen through the presentations, our major is really wide and broad, and students can go in different directions. So for masters, first you can think of it, okay, do I want to do a master immediately after graduation, or do I want to get some work experience and then continue? So the path of work experience, for example, could lead you to doing MBAs. And that is for students who are interested in technology and later taking managerial positions, then maybe an MBA makes sense. But if we focus also on the disciplines of IS, immediately after graduation, you could be thinking of, so I think the question was about market trends. Of course, a lot about data analytics, data science. There are many masters related to this that can be considered: artificial intelligence, statistics, and machine learning. Classic as well is to simply do a master in information systems, in management of information systems. So this is just going into more an understanding of this major, but in a broad way. Yes, there is also the part about we have a concentration in privacy and security. So this can be also something that is considered later as a master: cybersecurity, privacy, and so on. And then to finish, we have had students also who looked into design aspects. So doing masters in human-computer interaction, in interaction design, and so on. So it's varied. It's going to really depend on what you're interested in once you reach your senior year. And there is, of course, on campus, you'll be assigned an academic advisor, and these are one of the things you can be looking into together.
All right, thank you, Professor Salma. We have a question to Professor Shadi. It says, what minors would you recommend taking alongside information systems?
Thank you, Mohammed. Indeed, very good question. So we have, I'd say, about 15 or 16 minors that are offered at CMUQ. So there's a rich and interesting set of minors you could consider. Indeed, folks that are interested in building more skills on the technical side could consider things like the computer science minor. They might consider things like the math minor. If you're interested more on the social side, you might consider things in languages. You could do more technical minors in biology, in neuroscience. You can indeed do more business type minors in terms of tech entrepreneurship, in terms of a business studies minor. If you're interested in communication, you can do professional writing. There's minors in psychology, there's minors in economic, history. A whole range of options are available when it comes to minors, which will help enrich your skill set. And the key thing here is, through a minor, you could actually pursue something you're interested in and diversify your skills, which will also add value to your information system studies. Along with the minors, also I want to put a plug for our concentrations. So you might also, you need to also think about which concentrations in information systems you might be interested in. We have one that's focused on digitization and digital data management, digital transformation. We have another one that's focused on security and privacy, if you're interested in the security field, and a third one which is focused on data science. So there's a lot of scope to customize what skills you want to concentrate on and complement if you want through a minor. Thank you, Mohammed, and thanks for Celine for asking this good question.
Thanks a lot to Professor Shadi. We have a question about data science. What skill sets or interests are data science majors usually characterized by? Maybe Professor Huda, you can handle this one.
Sure. Thank you very much for this question. That's a tough one because data science is a multidisciplinary field where actually someone uses his skills in computer science, programming, and etc., and then machine learning, statistics, and especially the domain knowledge, and some research aspects as well. So if you look at this, you feel like you are not just you cannot characterize yourself by just one major or one discipline only. It's many things that come into play, but we focus on all of these aspects, at CMU and IS. If I want to describe the technical skills, at least of what a data scientist should have, I would start by the sense of analysis, statistical analysis, computing, machine learning, the ability of processing large data sets. Data visualization is a very important aspect of data science as well, because it's used at different stages of the process for exploring data and trying to see if there are any insights that are useful in it until, reporting about the results in a certain way. Data wrangling, which is a very, very big component of data science, is actually where we go collect the data, clean it up, and then try to put it into a format that we can use it to kind of answer a certain question or to kind of, go and use it to take decisions. Mathematics and reasoning and problem solving skills are important. Again, programming is important, statistics is important, and more importantly, there is some aspects of arts in the idea in here. You get used to kind of seeing some problems, and you get used to take decisions about them in a way, not getting used, but getting to learn a little bit about stuff that kind of gives you some instinct in a certain way, that again kind of guide your decisions. But overall, again, if you want to think of yourself as a data scientist, you need to think about all of these disciplines coming together, into helping you solving a certain problem. I hope that was clear.
Thank you very much, Professor Huda. So now we have a short break of 5 minutes, and we also ask you to give us some feedback during this break by sharing the survey. As I mentioned before, information system is about people, process, and technology. One part of this feedback survey is about our website. So we would like to know, as future students or as applicant, how do you find our website? And this is something you do in IS courses all the time. You need to interact with end users and ask them for their feedback. And we also have a section about the today's event. We will continue with the IS related questions right after the break until 12. And from 12 to 12:30, my colleague from admissions will be answering all admission related questions. So just a short break, and in the meantime, please try to answer the survey. We look forward to your input. So we will resume at 11:43 to continue with the other questions for the IS major. Thank you.
All right, we are back again. We have a question about computer science as a major or minor. If we take computer science as a minor or major, will we be taught from scratch, or is it required to have a prior experience from high school? Maybe this question is for Professor Dan.
Yeah, so if you're a computer science major, yeah, I'm a little hesitant since we're IS majors, we're not computer science. But again, like anything else, the admissions process is somewhat holistic. So they look at you as a whole person, your test scores, as well as the courses that you've taken, in order to be competitive for the computer science major admissions. I wouldn't say you would necessarily have to have taken previous programming courses, but you would have to score appropriately in mathematics on entrance exams, and probably have taken a significant amount of courses that will support your ability to deal with the complex mathematical issues that are found in computer science.
Thank you, Professor Dan. And there is also another question for you about the math minor. Are there any pure math minors that can be taken with IS?
Yeah, I was just typing that answer, but I'll just answer it for everyone now. It all depends what you mean by pure math, right? Because if we divide mathematics into an applied mathematics and pure math, And we have a mathematical sciences minor, but it consists primarily of more practical mathematics, things like calculus and matrix algebra, and not the pure math, which is, delves into the realm of philosophical mathematics. So when you say pure math, it depends upon, what you mean by pure math. We do have a mathematical sciences minor, though.
Thanks a lot, Professor Dan. We also had another question regarding the transition to the university, and maybe we can think of it or look at it from a skills perspective. What advice would you give a 12-year student for an easier transition into a university? Maybe Noura, you would like to answer this?
Sure. So for me, I honestly didn't struggle much transitioning from high school to CMU because at CMU the environment is just, it's very welcoming. All the students, I mean, if you think about it, everyone with you is going to be also coming from high school, so you're all going to have similar kind of struggles, just trying to set new expectations because it's a completely different experience, and the environment is very supportive in that sense. You'll definitely find maybe clubs that you can relate to. You'll find other people with similar experiences because of the diversity on campus. I'm not sure what you can do specifically, but I think in general, CMU makes it easier to transition from high school into the university atmosphere, and they facilitate all the things that you might need to make it an easier transition.
Thanks a lot, Noura, and maybe we can also ask Professor Salma maybe to add on top of this question.
Yeah, so I think it's about you understanding where we are. So, for example, attending this is good. Coming, visiting the campus is good to also get ready. Just generally speaking, I think caring about your academics. We have in the summer an EDGE program, which is really a program that we put together to prepare the students to be ready for the university. So those who are admitted will have a chance to spend 3 weeks getting prepared. Yeah, so in the end also, in the end, it's also about really not giving up in your last semester in high school. I think this is also important. Some schools call it senioritis. So okay, I'm sure I'm gonna get admitted now. I got my admissions. I'm gonna relax. It's important to keep the pace because that pace actually keeps you engaged intellectually. And that engagement is what makes you ready as well to be ready to start again in your fall.
All right, thank you very much, Professor Salma. We have a question. Are there any Turkish students in the campus? Anyone can answer that question? Yeah, go ahead, Professor Noe.
I think this is a very interesting questions, but definitely I have seen many Turkish students on campus. There are many excellent Turkish students and they are very smart. In addition to Turkish, we are having a very growing and more diverse and international communities. And you have experience in, learning about different cultures, students from around the world. I think you will have a great time on campus. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll just add, I mean, I can't say specifically Turkish. We do have students representing, I want to say 33 different nations as part of our student body, with just the incoming class. So we do have an extremely diverse group of students, of which I'm sure, as Professor Noe said, she's seen, people who are Turkish students on campus. People's nationality is not something that we typically have access to, but I know we have a very diverse group of students.
All right, we have also another question to Professor Nui. What makes IS more interesting than CS?
Wow, I feel honored to answer this question. We are much more interesting than CS because we are more well-rounded. We will teach you to be more well-rounded skill set around technologies. To me, CS, they are very good, but they are very technical focused. So you're going to learn how to be a hardcore programmer, focusing on developing tools for IS people to use those tools to further in their business development or other discipline or industry areas. So to me, the word is interesting. Interesting is actually very hard to answer. Of course, some of you may have a strong love of programming. We do have courses that offer for programming comparing to CS, but we do more than what CS is doing because we are also teaching you on the business skill set, social skill set, interpersonal skill set, particularly entrepreneurship skill set, for example. As Professor Shadi has mentioned about the tech entrepreneur, this is a new minors that you can do in addition to your majors. You can choose to do this tech entrepreneurship minor, and this is multidisciplinary but is home-based from IS discipline. Okay, I hope that someone else may want to add more interesting aspect of IS to CS.
Yes, Professor Shadi, go ahead.
All right, take it to me with a guarantee. Information systems is the most interesting major in the world. So there's nothing more interesting than that. And for many, many reasons, we're living in the digital age, and we are formulating how life is going to be and how society is going to be in the future. So there's nothing more exciting. And, I'll give you my own guarantee. Well done.
Yeah, maybe we can give everyone the opportunity to speak about this. What about you, Noura? What do you think?
I agree with Professor Shadi. It's definitely the most interesting major because it's, as I mentioned, you can use it in any industry, in any organization, in any company. So it allows you to do anything that you're interested in, even if it's outside information systems. For example, I was very interested in psychology, and you might think, how can you make psychology relevant in information systems? It is relevant because in some ways you need to understand the people part, right? So psychology is the people part in IS, and I'm still incorporating psychology in my master's now, doing data science. So this is the beauty of information systems. It gives you the foundation to do anything you want. Thank you.
Cool, thanks, Noura. And maybe also we forward this question to Professor Azam.
Sure, thank you so much. So I would kind of extend what Professor Nui has mentioned and also what Professor Shadi has mentioned, and I would kind of rebound what Noura has said, that she had an opportunity to create her own businesses. That clearly tells that in IS, we take into account the building aspect that Abdulaziz mentioned, plus how that thing would be sustainable and become a business, would be actually applied in the real world. So in practicality, we're trying to solve actual problems. We're not just talking about technology. This is one technology, this is another one, and we're combining these two technologies. Rather, we're looking at the aspects of how we can realize this thing in reality. So the thing is that in today's world, if you look at different aspects that you do, for example, we talked about the mobile app development, mobile applications, different types of applications that we use. A lot of data is involved. Professor Huda mentioned that in the perspective of Uber. So can we filter that data out? Can we make use of that data and create more services or solve problems more intelligently, plus with the perspective of sustainability? This is possible through IS. That's why I also believe that my background is CS, but I'm in IS. That's one of the reasons why IS is more interesting and why I think you should be interested in IS as well. Yeah, that's it.
Thanks, Professor Azam. And maybe now, Professor Selma.
Yes, hi. If you remember in my presentation, I said also I teach a global systems course. So this is also another part in which IS is really exciting, because it's about also thinking about how technology is being used and how it should be used. Okay, think about drones. Okay, so these can be really useful. You can use them in remote areas to transport medication or blood for blood transfusion, things like this. But it can also be a risk to your privacy. So having people who think about, okay, technology is being developed, but is it being used appropriately, so it is for the benefit of humanity, or is it a risk? Think about artificial intelligence profiling faces, the fact that that can have an element of discrimination, or really just profiling people based on other considerations. Well, can we think about that? Can we really make it right from the beginning? How pandemic, again, it's the classic example. How did technology help in that? Okay, think about Zoom wasn't popular, became really popular. Can we really make it to the next level? The metaverse, having meetings broadly in 3D. Oh, that's great. But what is the risk to our privacy with that? So there is a lot that can be fun to explore and to analyze and to think about in IS. And this is also a type of careers that can be pursued, being policymaker, thinking about international policies as well for related to technology.
Thanks, Professor Selma. Maybe Professor Huda.
Sure. To answer this question, I want to ask everyone here, do you know you're using IS in your daily life? If I give you examples, all the answers would be yes. Because if you think of all the things you can do online, like, registering for classes, paying bills, searching for jobs, making your travel reservations, all of these examples are actually examples of IS and how it is integral to our daily lives. We really, I mean, my answers to those who ask me a lot is, thanks to IS, we are having a simpler life. Okay, so IS is more than computers. If you want to compare it to CS, it has really this aspect of people also and business processes that comes into consideration. Definitely technology is a huge part of it, but every information system has these people, processes, and information technology in the heart of it that makes actually it more of an applied science in a certain way than a core theory one. So I also have a background in CS. I have a PhD in CS, and I transferred to IS. I'm always interested in how computers can think like humans from an artificial intelligence perspective, but also if they do that, how can we use them to kind of build things to make people's lives easier? And I work a lot on things related to building applications for social good, building applications that people can use in their daily lives, and make it simpler and nicer. Thank you. I hope that covers it.
Yes, and maybe concluding it with Professor Anis.
Yes, thank you very much. And I hope today's presentation is convinced you a bit also about this question. So you saw different topics in information systems. And like Professor Huda and many of the faculty, some of us have their background in computer science. I also have a PhD in computer science. So the borders are not very, let's say, well defined. You can be an IS person, but you focus more on the computer science aspect, or more on the business aspect, or on the innovation. But many of the topics that you heard about today are IS topics, like the sustainability, green information systems, innovation. This is something you don't learn in computer science. And as I said, I studied computer science. So computer science would be, if you really know that you want to study algorithms and data structure in depth and try to make them efficient, and the people side is not that much there, so you will not be interacting with users that much or stakeholders to derive requirements. The user interface, user interaction side is not there that much. Also, this exposure to the business world and innovation, commercialization, process improvement, all these topics are purely IS topics. So if you know, you're very sure you want to go in depth into technology and how to make it very efficient, that's CS. If you still don't know and you want to keep your opportunities open, I think IS is a very good choice. I think Professor Salma wanted to add something on this.
Well, okay, you're wrapping up. I wanted to bring also the fact that our students can practice this. We send students to remote areas with the TC and GC technology consulting in global communities. There is also a semester exchange in Washington, DC, where we had recently a student that did that and was consulting on technology matters. So this is a part that is different from what you would be doing in computer science. It's really going on the grounds and in practice how you implement technology in specific context.
Thank you very much, Professor Salma, and thank you to all the IS faculty and Mohammed for being part of this event. We will move now to the next Q&A session, and this session will be dedicated to the admission-related questions. I would like to welcome my colleague Miranda Crane from the admissions office. And Miranda, please start answering the questions whenever you're ready. Thank you.
Yes, of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Miranda Crane. I'm one of the assistant directors of admission at CMUQ. I'll be running the Q&A for today. So I'll try to get to as many questions as I can, but if I'm unable to, please check out our website, or the questions may be answered there. Also, we have a UG admission email, which I'm going to share on the chat. Okay, please email if your question was not able to be answered. So it looks like the first question is, may I know the admission requirements for undergraduate students who wish to apply to this program? So we have academic requirements and then we have application requirements. So I'm going to be addressing both of those in this response. So first, in terms of academic requirements, math is a requirement for all incoming students in all of our majors, actually. So all incoming students who apply to CMUQ need to be taking math, and specifically for IS to the pre-calculus level to meet the academic requirement of math. Okay, and then as far as our application requirements, so we have an application form, a writing supplement, required essay. We have official and complete academic transcripts, English proficiency exam, 2 letters of recommendation, and then we are actually SAT, ACT optional. So those are the general requirements for both academic admission and our application requirements. Okay, so the second question looks like it is, what overall high school average do you usually look for? So the averages, I can tell you the averages for admitted students to information systems this year. So the average GPA of admitted students to information systems for this application cycle was about a 3.84 GPA. So that accounts to a few Bs in the 3 years of grades that we look at. So we look at 3 years of grades in high school, both internal and external grades. So we're not just looking at test scores, okay? So yeah, a 3.84 was the average GPA, and then that equates to about a 12% acceptance rate. So that's kind of the averages that we're looking at. We do typically need to see mostly A's on your transcripts, especially in key courses, which would be the math, technology, and science courses, since CMUQ is a STEM school, okay? So the next question is, what are the academic requirements for an Indian student? So we have this laid out on our website as well, but basically if you're in an Indian stream school, you would need to be typically enrolled on the science track, okay? If you are on the commerce track, you should only apply if your coursework includes pure mathematics through pre-calculus, because again, pre-calculus, all students admitted into information systems need to have taken math up to the pre-calculus level. Okay, so that's the general requirements. If you're in the Indian stream, you can also find a more comprehensive list of information in regards to all of our academic requirements on our website at this link that I'm going to share in the chat right now. Okay, so the next question is, what are the academic requirements? Sorry, it looks like that question was answered twice, so we answered that. Okay, so the next question, what are the basic courses that a student must have in order to get into CMU? So again, we require math up to the pre-calculus level. However, we do also like to see science courses. CMUQ is a STEM school, so science and technology is the basis of our curriculum. So we would like to see science courses as well, and then technology courses too. So although they're not a hard requirement like math, we would still like to see those, and they help make your application stronger. Okay, next question. Are there APs that help you skip courses in freshman year? And if so, what are they? Okay, so CMUQ, we do grant credit if you have taken an AP course and you take the AP test and you receive either a 4 or a 5, okay? Now this is on a case-by-case basis. So at this time, I can't give any definitive answer as to, can this course be translated to credit for this course? Like I said, that's evaluated on a case-by-case basis, but we do award AP credit if you've taken that exam and scored a 4 or a 5. Okay, next question. What IGCSE's grades are accepted? So we do require students to go on to AS or A levels, and important point is you must take 4 AS subjects or 3 A levels. Okay, then that is a hard requirement if you're in the British system. Now, as far as grades, IG grades, like I said, just in terms of our GPA requirements being the average GPA of incoming students this cycle being 3.84, typically on your IGs, you would need to be getting mostly A's, especially in key areas. So math, science, and technology courses. Okay. Next question. What are the required courses I should take in high school to get into information systems? We answered that math up to pre-calculus level is required. Okay, next question. You just mark those as done. Okay. Are there any scholarships that are given to students? How do I apply for them? So we do have a few scholarships that are awarded to a few students every year. A few students in every major. So a majority of our students do not utilize scholarships that need aid. So we do have a very generous need-based grant program, and that's what most of our students use who do require aid. So our need-based grant program it's a world-class program provided by Qatar Foundation, okay? And basically it can cover up to the entire full cost of admission. If you can gain admission. So that's the key point. Once you're admitted, Qatar Foundation assesses your need and then fills in the gaps. So this is a really generous program, and it really has, it's really just helped our school grow in the past 3 to 4 years since this program was implemented. And this is available to any student, international students, resident students. So it's a great program, and it's a great way to get college paid for at CMUQ. So we do have scholarships, but like I said, most of our students are on the need-based grant program. Okay, next question. I can't see any events scheduled for, okay, so this is a question regarding experience. So like Professor Anis said, it's not posted on the website yet. Experience CMUQ is happening October 8th here at CMUQ. So there will basically be a session for each major, And when you register, you'll be able to sign up for the session in the major of your choice. Okay, but that is currently not on the website. It should be posted in the next week or two. Okay, so just keep a lookout on our events tab. It's at the top right-hand side of our website. Okay, thank you. Next question, does CMUQ provide financial aid? So like I said, our need-based grant program is the main source of financial aid. However, we do also have, the Qatari government does provide financial aid to Qatari citizens. And then there is also, for US citizens, there is financial aid through FAFSA. But other than that, the need-based grant program is what most of our students are on in terms of financial aid. Okay. Next question, are the expectations for IB students that are applying different than students from other systems? So the different school systems that we look through in admissions, you know, we have to navigate all these different systems, but no, there are no different requirements. If you're an IB, you would just be required to be taking math up to or above the pre-calculus level. Okay, next question. Are AP classes necessary to get admitted to CMU? No, AP is not necessary. However, if you are able to take AP courses and the AP exam, it does strengthen your application. So if you're able to, it is something that we would suggest. Anything to make you look like a stronger student in your application and to show us that you're capable of completing our coursework will help your application. Okay. So yes, the next question is regarding early decision. So I'm just going to explain a little bit about our admission rounds before I address this specific question. So we have 2 rounds of admission at CMUQ, early decision and regular decision for a fall start. So we only start 1 group of students per year, and that's in the fall. Next year, it'll be August 2023. So our 2 rounds of admission for August 2023 are early decision and regular decision. Most students will apply regular decision. Okay, so our application cycle opened up on September 1. And for regular decision, all students need to have all materials into us by February 1st for an April 1st decision. Okay, now as far as early admission goes, students who would like to apply early admission, there are a few requirements. The first being that you do need to attend an outreach event, which if you're attending right now, this would qualify you for early decision. However, the second requirement is you do need to be a resident or a Qatari national here in Qatar. Okay, so that's the second requirement for early decision. And then the third requirement is that early decision it's really a binding agreement. So if you apply early decision to CMUQ, then you would be expected to attend as long as financial aid and finances work out in regards to your education. Okay, and early decision, your materials are due by November 1 for a December 15th decision. Okay, so to answer the question, is it mandatory to attend one of the outreach programs to be eligible for early admission? Yes, it is, and this would count as an outreach program. So make sure that you filled out the registration form for this event or the certificate form, which the IS faculty shared with you, so you get credit for attending this session. Okay. Next question. Okay, so the next question is, are SAT scores and IELTS important for enrollment, and what are the high school proficiencies required? So SAT scores, so we are SAT, ACT optional. Okay, so that means if you do not submit SAT or ACT scores to us, it doesn't negatively impact your application at all. Okay, so here's what we suggest. If you would like to take the SAT or ACT, we only suggest it to strengthen your application. So basically, I suggest taking it quietly on your own. Don't send the scores, okay? Wait until you receive your scores and then email or call us and ask us for our averages. I'm not going to get into the averages of our SAT and ACT for the current cycle right now, but email us or call us after you get your scores for the averages. We'll let you know. And I only suggest sending your scores to us if they're at or above our averages. Okay, so again, this is optional. So you're not required to send us SAT or ACT scores, okay? Now, as far as the IELTS goes and English proficiency exam, most of our students are required to do this. Most of our students are required to do an IELTS. So for this year, typically we recommend getting a 6.5 on the IELTS. And then for Duolingo, we recommend a 120. And for TOEFL, we recommend a 90, okay? Yes, so one of the next questions is for predicted grades. Yes, so all students who apply who are, for example, doing AS or A levels and they don't have their final scores out yet, we would ask for mock or predicted grades from your college counselor. They would send these to us and then that would go into us making our decision. So yes, when you submit your transcripts, one of those required transcripts would be a predicted score, okay, for any tests that don't have scores come out until later, okay? Okay, next question. What, in your opinion, makes a personal statement more competitive? Okay, so in our application, we do have an option. It's an option to have a personal statement. And honestly, it's kind of like a short optional essay section. Honestly, just be yourself and tell us a story, get us interested in your application, because in the required essay, you're going to be talking about, for example, what interests you in information systems? Why do you want to apply to information systems? That's the required essay. In the personal statement, yeah, we would like you to be yourself and to display just aspects of your personality. So that's what I would say. Make the personal statement interesting. Okay. Thank you for that question. Sorry, I'm just reading through some questions that just came through. Okay, so one question is, I have completed my IELTS. How do I share the report to CMUQ as part of the application process, since the application does not ask for it? So you have to officially send the results from the British Council, okay, where you took the exam. So reach out to the British Council and have your scores sent to CMUQ. Okay, and as far as, we have another scholarship question. The CMU offers scholarships for undergraduates. What are the requirements to be selected? So again, we have a few scholarships, but most of our students will be on the need-based grant. As far as our scholarships go, the application for scholarships is actually the need-based grant application. So the need-based grant application is due 15 days after your initial application is due. So for early decision, the need-based grant application is due November 15th. For regular decision, the need-based grant application is due February 15th. Okay, so when you fill out the need-based grant application, it does apply you to our scholarships, and you can read more about scholarship requirements on our website, and I will share that link in the chat. Okay, another question is, am I allowed to enter the university with AS level, or is A level compulsory? Okay, so we admit students at the AS level in the British system every year. However, A level students are considered stronger applicants to the university. Okay. Just reading through some questions that just came through. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so again, what are the chances of being accepted if you've only completed AS, not A-level as a whole? Additionally, how important are extracurriculars? So again, we accept students who are at the AS level every year, but A-level students are considered stronger applicants. Now, keep in mind, if you are doing AS levels, you need to be taking 4, and one of those needs to be math, okay? And then also, we do not accept general paper as an AS level, okay? And then as far as extracurriculars go, we would like to see some technology related extracurriculars. If you're applying to information systems, it shows interest in technology, which is the major you're applying for. But at the same time, we love to see all different types of extracurriculars. Every year we admit students with a diverse activities. So we like to see anything and everything in regards to your extracurricular activities. Okay. And if you have specific questions in regards to your requirements as a student, particularly if a certain IB class meets a requirement, please email the UG admissions email, which I shared on the chats. I'm trying to look for the more general questions here that will answer questions for the most students on the chat, okay? So a student asked, will doing a foundation program help me get in if I do not continue with A-levels? This is on a case-by-case basis. Typically, A-level students will be stronger applicants to the university, okay? Typically, we suggest a foundation program to students who, for example, let's say your IELTS score is on the lower end, like let's say your IELTS is a 5. Typically, we would suggest a foundation program to students who need help in English or help in math. However, if you're going on from AS to AS levels to a foundation program, I would just suggest probably going on to A levels because you would be considered a stronger applicant. Okay. Someone is asking what math courses you need for computer science. For computer science, you would need math to the calculus level. Just answer that question quickly. Someone asked, is it fine if I didn't take AS math in high school, but I'm currently taking pre-calculus math at the ABP, the Academic Bridge Program here in Education City? Yes, that is fine. So you're taking math at if you're taking pre-calculus math at the ABP, which I know many students who are applying to CMUQ are doing, that would qualify as the pre-calculus requirement, okay? Someone asked what IELTS score is needed. I can tell you this past year, the lowest IELTS score that a student acquired was a 6.5, okay? So I would suggest getting a 6.5 or above. So someone asked, is having an Arabic subject as one of my IGs relevant? In terms of our requirements, we like to see well-rounded students. So in the academic preparation link that I shared in the chats, you'll see that we do look for well-rounded students. However, as far as requirements, math, science, and technology courses are going to be the strongest courses. Now, as far as taking an Arabic class at the IG level, that's great. You can definitely, if you're interested, go on to minor in Arabic studies. That's one of our minors. And again, just because I see some SAT, ACT questions coming through, I'm not going to get into the averages on this chat. please email UG Admissions if you have questions regarding the averages for our ACT, SAT for the most recent incoming class. We're actually just calculating those right now, so we don't have them with us at this time. So someone asked, is science as important as math for IS and picking your classes in high school? Math is a requirement, so math is the most important, okay? Because if you're not taking math, we can't offer you admission into the university, okay? But science is still important. CMUQ, we are a STEM school, so science, technology, engineering, math, all the basis of our courses are in STEM. So science courses still do look good and they make your application stronger. So I would definitely suggest taking a science course if you do have the option. Okay, so someone asked, does the earlier you apply affect the chance of you getting accepted? So no, all of our students, if you're applying to regular decision, you just have to have all of your materials in by February 1, and we don't review anything for regular decision until after February 1. Okay, so applying early in the admission cycle for regular decision doesn't help your help your chances per se. However, if you do apply early admission, if you are eligible for early decision, you do have a slight advantage applying. So the reason for this is that we use the metrics from the previous admission cycle to inform us in early decision when we're looking at applications. So we do this because we assume that the admission cycle in terms of the number of applications and the applicants will remain the same year after year. But the reality of the matter is that we've become more and more competitive every year for the last 3 admission cycles. So this admission cycle applications increased almost 20%. So yes, the slight advantage to applying early decision is that we use the metrics from the previous admission cycle to make decisions on applications. Okay, so let's look for the next question. Okay, someone asked if we apply with predicted grades, will we get conditional acceptance or a normal one? So you would be accepted into the university conditionally. We would still need your final scores sent to us. And this year they were sent in July and August as far as IB and British curriculum went. So yes, it would be a conditional acceptance as long as we receive your final grades. Someone asked what extracurriculars are required or considered stronger for computer science or information systems. There's no required extracurriculars. However, kind of like I mentioned previously, we would like to see some technology related extracurriculars such as robotics club, coding, stuff of that nature that would make your application stronger. Okay, someone asked that last question. If you were rejected from early decision, would you be eligible to reapply during regular decision? The simple answer to this is no. So if you were rejected during early decision, you are not eligible to apply for regular decision in the same admission cycle. So if you apply early decision this year and you are rejected, you're not eligible to apply again until the following admission cycle. Okay. So that's going to be the last question for today. Thank you everyone for your questions. I know a lot more questions came in as I started talking, which typically happens. Please email ugadmissions@qatar.cmu.edu with any further questions for me. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for attending. And Professor Anis, is there anything else you'd like to say?
Thank you very much, Miranda, for answering all these questions. I see the participants still have a few questions. As Miranda mentioned, please feel free to email your questions and be assured that you'll receive a response by email. And regarding our next outreach event, stay tuned. In 1 week or 2, you'll find more information on the website. And as I said, you can come and explore in depth one of the topics that you learned about today. Thank you very much. We hope this was informative and useful, and we hope to see you. Yeah, we hope to see you on October 8th in person at CMUQ. Thank you and have a great day. Bye-bye.